Warriors, rise. Grand rising. Good evening, Warriors. Excited to be with you guys on this March 20th, 2026. I want to remind you, it's last March 20th, 2026 you're ever going to have, so let's make it an absolutely great day. Welcome to the Wealth Transfer Podcast. This is a historical day for the 3T Warrior Academy as we bring the infrastructure up to the front. The Warrior Podcast is all about, the Wealth Transfer Warrior Podcast is all about teaching you exactly how we built this empire here. I would love to say I did this all by myself, but now we're bringing the people from behind the scenes to the front. We are much bigger than a cryptocurrency company. We are a financial literacy company that is moving the 1% to the 5%. And we do that through embodiment. We just ended a 36-year cycle in humanity as we transfer from centralization to decentralization. We transfer from an old economy to a brand new economy. And we are going to be bringing to you guys the trials and tribulations we've gone through, the ecosystem that we built, from insurance to cryptocurrency to macro and microeconomic. And we're going to share with you how we went from losing everything in 2020 to multimillionaires, multi-million-dollar companies, and we're going to peel back the whole curtain with true authenticity. So this first call, what we're going to be doing, this first podcast, so we're going to be going around the room. We're going to be introducing each person. You're going to see our laptops out here. So we're live in the studio in Mesa, Arizona. We got my beautiful partner, May, out there, and I won't disclose her location because I want to be stalkers going out there and going after her. We got Gonzo as well. I don't want any stalkers going after him as well. They're in their bunkers wherever they're at, and we're live in the studio in Mesa. So we have our security team. So if you want to come out and get us, just kidding. All right, so we're gonna go around the room. I'm Coach JV. I'm the CTO, the CEO of the 3T Warrior Academy. We started this back in 2017. We left corporate America, so I walked out of a high-paid vice president banking job to become the CEO of what first was JV Impacts, which evolved into 3T Fitness, into 3T Warrior Academy. Now we have 6 ecosystems. I think 32 team members now. We're coming up on 32 team members. We got Spain, Canada, all over the United States. We went from completely losing everything to multimillionaires in investments, multimillionaires in business. But what we want to do is we want to demystify all of this. So I'm going to kick it around the room. So I'm going to kick it over to Jackie. So Jackie, introduce yourself and what is your role at the 3T Warrior Academy?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Jackie. I am the Chief Investment Officer here at 3T Warrior Academy. I am super excited. It's just a little background. I've been with Coach JV, Jeremy and May, and the team here for a very long time. How I first started, I actually just joined when JV left corporate America. Yep. I just walked into the gym looking for a place to work out after I had graduated from college and realized that all of our systems are a little bit in shambles. So super excited to be here with you guys. I am very aligned and dedicated with my team here on the mission to change the 1% into the 5%. And so that's what we're going to do here, guys.
Love it. I love it. We'll have it over to Jeremy, our CFO, and we have some fun stories. We've been together for a long time. He's not my partner.
As partners, we've been together for a very long time.
Every time I say that, I'm
separated from you.
We've been. I broke up with him and I got with May. But no, when I always say with partners, he's my partner. People are like, you guys are together, not together in business. So we build ecosystems. He was one of the first people to believe in me. I remember I went to the trunk of my car. I pulled out a book and he thought I was going to sell him some drugs. And I showed him a book and he was the first person that said, I like this book. It's awesome. So Jeremy, introduce yourself. He's a CFO of the 3T Warrior Academy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, CJV, and thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So again, I've been on this journey with CJV since technically 2010, 2011, when we worked in the bank with each other. And then we, in 2017, we started JV Impacts together. And my background is in finance and accounting. And so I was able to help the businesses with that. And then oddly enough, one of the funniest stories that CJV mentions when we do our Freedom Conference is that when he came to me and he asked me if I ever knew how to do a podcast or knew how to do a podcast, I had told him yes. And then I went home that night and read everything that I could possibly find on how to do a podcast. And now we actually have a podcast company. We have this podcast studio, and we do a lot of podcasting. It's one of the funnest things that I get to do. And obviously working with all the amazing people here at 3T Warrior Academy. So
that's the best. The power of yes, guys.
Power of yes.
He was like, yes, of course I've done a podcast. And now here we are with the Wealth Transfer podcast studio, production, everything. So the power of saying yes. Awesome. Now I'm going to kick it over to my partner and my real partner in life. And she's also a partner in businesses and ecosystems. So May is a beautiful, beautiful person. She is actually my partner in life. So it's so cool to have her come to the forefront. I always tell people the reason why I'm so successful is she magnetized me 10 times. Without further ado, we'll kick it over to our COO, the beautiful May.
Wonderful. Thank you, love. Yes, so my name is May. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for 3T Warrior Academy, also founder of Freedom Insurance and the COO for that company as well. Just like Jeremy, long ago, I believed in JV and I wanted to support him along the way. And so I was that woman that has said yes to things in order to help him build and scale our ecosystems and our empire. I just feel super grateful to be able to work alongside someone that I love so much, and the things that we're able to do and help people every single day, because that's ultimately our goal and our mission, is to impact at least one life every single day.
Every day. Love it. Love you, babe. All right, let's go over to Gonzo. Gonzo's an absolute legend. He is the oracle when it comes to charts, man. He's been the one calling the top, calling the bottoms. He's stoic. He is calm. He's a beautiful soul. He's been helping us for a very long time in the 3T Warrior Academy. So without further ado, we'll kick it over to Gonzo. Introduce yourself and what do you do at the 3T Warrior Academy?
What's up, everybody? I'm Gonzo. So I do the technical analysis, research. It's so funny because there's so many different parallels, right? I say this all the time. Like, you guys have heard the story about JV and Jeremy, and I always like bring the parallel of that Jackie is my Jeremy, right? Because it was so crazy. Because when we first started out and doing all this, like, I was self-taught in crypto and I was learning all these things, and I kept just running into Jackie, and it's so funny because Jackie. It was so funny. The stories are just so parallel. When Jackie first hit me up to join the team, she's like, "Hey, do you want to join the team? Do you want to run Discord? Do you know anything about Discord?" And I was totally like, "Yeah, I totally know about Discord. I could do that." And I knew nothing about Discord, right? And then that's like what JB's talking about. It's the power of yes, right? And so it was the same thing kind of like with Merlin, like, "Hey, we need instructional videos. Can you do instructional videos? Do you know about editing?" And I was like, "I totally know about instructional videos and editing." And I was like totally looking it up. And then, and then now I know about instructional videos, or I know about editing. So, but yeah, it's just so funny. But yeah, I think we've come a long way. I think when I first started, I was very like locked into like cryptocurrency, but then I kind of just realized that, hey, you know what? Technical analysis is technical analysis, and we can convert that into any asset class, right? And so that's what we started doing. And I think it just has to do with us maturing, not just in the 3T Warrior Academy, but like when JV talks about that we're becoming like a financial education company, that's part of it, right? Like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't invest in crypto. What I'm saying is that we go in through these cycles, and right now we're in that downturn. There's plenty of money to be made. There's a bull market somewhere. So let's take the technical analysis, take the information that we have, and let's just make money in a different asset class. And I think we've really done a good job in the academy for people that have been here, that have pivoted. Dude, we've gotten into trades that have been into like gold, silver. Lately it was oil, all kinds of stuff. And we're going to continue to do that. So yeah, just super excited. I literally, as we started the show, have chills. Awesome. And I understand that we're going to change the world, and let's go.
Yes, I love it. So if you guys have not visit 3T as in Tom, warrioracademy.com. We are a worldwide academy coming up on 15,000 people by Monday, which is absolutely amazing. Just to share with you guys what our ecosystem is, we have companies in education, financial services, financial literacy. We have an insurance brokerage. We have Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. We'll be talking about that. But this podcast is really about us talking about our ecosystems, what we're doing. So we're going to start into some news today. We had a deep conversation with our investment team, and we were talking about the private credit markets. And so there's a big crack that we see within the financial system happening. So I'm going to kick over to Jackie to discuss that. And then we're just going to have an open conversation on these podcasts. We're also going to answer some questions from you guys as well. And then I'll put it out to the universe, as eventually we'd like to have it where you can actually call in live on the show so you can ask questions. And so this show is going to evolve. And a big shout out to the behind the scenes team. I mean, this is flawless how we started this. Absolutely amazing. So huge shout out out to them. They put in so much work behind the scenes. A couple honorable mentions out there. We got Mario. He had his brand new baby out there. I think he has 17 children now. So we keeps popping them out like rabbits. So we got Mario out there. So he'll be on the show next time. And we got Johnny Crypto with a K, wishing you a great day. He's got some things going on as well. So we're going to be on the podcast. And throughout the time, we will have some special guests within our own ecosystem coming on as well. Just having people coming on and discussing what they do. So our whole goal with this, just to share with you guys, is we want to bring to you all the information, right? We did start in cryptocurrency, right? The XRP Army. We're very grateful to the XRP Army. Did change our life dramatically, but we have branched out into cash value life insurance, banking on yourself concept. We're branching into private private equity, real estate, all
and
these
maybe
different
private
things.
credit one day.
Maybe private credit one day. We were talking about that today in our meeting. Well, let's talk about that, Jackie. How did this conversation start? So being the chief investment officer, we were having a conversation around private credit and some of the transitions we're probably going to be making in regards to our portfolios. And so if you're not part of 3T Warrior Academy, get in there, 3twarrioracademy.com. So Jackie, what's going on with the private credit markets?
Yeah, guys, this is a big thing. And everyone needs to be paying attention to this, especially if you are part of the middle class system. So maybe many of you have been hearing about some of these bigger institutions. Blue Owl was a big one recently in the news, as well as, our common institutions, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan and Chase, Wells Fargo, all of these institution guys are in private credit. And so what that is, and Jeremy could also go into a deeper explanation of this, but basically it's kind of opaque types of investments that these institutions will get into, that are business development companies, private debt, things like that aren't necessarily as regulated, but it's going to chase that return. So we talk a lot about cycles on when we're talking about the markets, when we're talking about cyclical wealth transfer, all of those types of things. And we're seeing it happen right now, guys. So this is one of the biggest canaries in the coal mine is this private credit issue, where a lot of these institutions that are managing your money, that people are just blindly trusting and following, they're making these investments. And so when we kind of get into a cyclical pattern where we're on the pullback of markets, and Ray Dalio is probably one of the most well-known person who's been talking about this. When, markets rise, empires rise and then collapse, there's always a domino that sets that off. And so for us, similar to, last cycle where we saw this in 2008, when it was private credit with mortgages, we're seeing it again, but it's private credit in a different form. Mm.
Let's talk. So going back just to, because our goal is to financial literacy and financial education. So think about 2006 to 2008, right? So when Clinton was president, before that, obviously that started the domino when he started doing, was it subprime mortgages? Subprime, right? Yeah. Subprime mortgages, which caused the crack in the system. And all of a sudden we went into 2006 to 2008. I went into banking in 2007 and I was sitting across from people actually walking in and they were turning in their keys to their house. So I just went into banking. I didn't really understand banking at that point. And I was thinking, how could this happen? Like people were coming in with that had no income and they had $1 million homes. Right. And so we didn't see that the crack was present, but now this is kind of like a 2006 to 2008 narrative coming in that people don't see within the private credit markets. Can we go a little bit deeper? Like Jeremy, can you explain what the private credit markets are? Because even when we're having our meeting, I'll be honest with you guys. I was like, I asked the team, I was like, hey, listen, I'm going to be honest. Explain to me deeper what the private credit markets are and what is the risk to the financial system.
Yeah. So in the instance of what we're talking about with this situation, private credit refers to any time that there's some type of private investor that rather than buying equity inside of a company, they're providing lending. A lot of the times, depending on the institution, that could be in the form of bonds, or it could be in the form of, like when we started Refined Integrity, we took a loan out from like a smaller company, right? Yep. That was kind of like private equity. It's this lending that goes to like startups or small businesses. Traditionally, maybe they'll have higher interest, or maybe the interest will be lower, but there will a piece of where some of that debt can convert into some type of equity inside of the company. But what ends up happening, and this is the same thing that kind of happened in the mortgage crisis back in 2008, is what ends up happening is because more and more companies are trying to find ways to invest and to create new types of products. Sometimes there will be institutions that go and buy up this debt from a bunch of private lenders that have this debt outstanding to people that were borrowing against it. and then they create those into ETFs or into collateralized loan obligations, which are pools of these debts together that are then repackaged and then sold off to other investors, similar like mortgage-backed securities in the mortgage market. And so what ends up happening is if there's a piece of time where these creditors can't pay, this loan has been sold off to another institution that's then tied into maybe someone's 401k, or maybe it's tied into some other public ETF or something along those lines. Well, if something happens in the economy and these businesses can't pay back those loans, then those loans, they kind of default and then they go down in value, and then that kind of can cause like a effect, or like a reoccurring effect, where more and more people start losing money. And then we have an instance in some capacity like 2008. I don't know how tied in it's going to be with other institutions, because like with the mortgage, the collateralized mortgage obligations, those were also tied into mortgages, but they were also tied into the fact that you could there were insurance policies that were on these as well that had another bet. So when the mortgage market collapsed, it also affected the insurance companies that had the insurance on these these collateralized mortgage obligations, or collateralized mortgage investments as well. So again, the way that Ray Dalio does talk about it a lot, I think, and he's been talking about it for a long time. And one of the things that I think that makes America so great, but can sometimes be to our detriment in some cases, is that we're very opportunistic. So as long as we're staying opportunistic, we won't see a lot of this stuff coming, because we can keep pouring money into it, because we think that it's going to keep going up and keep going better. But eventually there will be a time when, like now, maybe when someone like JP Morgan or one of the other companies, was a Blackstone, that they don't allow you to pull out the money that you have in the private credit, because they're thinking that the private credit market's going to collapse or go down. So they're not allowing you to take out of it. Well, if other investors start seeing that, then those people will start taking their money out of certain things, putting it into other certain things. And that can cause maybe a recession to kind of happen. And I feel that that's where we might be headed to, maybe later in the year and next year. And as Jackie knows, there might be some astrology that goes along with that.
That's why I want to bring it up, because a lot of people were hearing about, BlackRock and Blackstone when they were like, we want people to understand what that means, right? Like when you hear that stuff, because I'll be honest with you, that's why I asked the question. I was like, well, what do you mean? Because like you said, we started a business and we went to private credit and we got money so that makes sense. So us as a business, we got private credit. If the economy goes down, that collapses back down. Were you going to say something? Sorry, I interrupted, Jackie.
No. Cool. I was in agreement. And I mean, that's why we're bringing it up, is because these companies are handlers of the regular person's everyday 401ks and investments, and they are putting you in these products. So that's the problem right now, when we've been talking about this cyclical thing of going into the new financial system. There has to be a collapse first. It's natural. It's nature, the cycles of nature. You have to burn down the field to plant new crop. You have to burn down the old financial system to bring about new. And so how does that happen? Well, it's wiping out the old. This is definitely going to be that first domino effect. But when we've been talking about wiping out the middle class, this is where that's coming from, is it's through people's 401ks, because that's where everyone's retirement's saved up. That's where everything is.
And we've been so indoctrinated that that's what you're supposed to get.
That's exactly right.
Yep. And then so I'll kick it over to May, and then Gonzo, I want to go over to you and talk about the markets, what's going on in the markets. May, so that's why we talk about insurance so much, guys. That's why we get so deep on insurance and protection. And I'll be transparent with you guys. We were what we call vertical strategies. So when Jeremy and I were at the bank, we went to school, we got a job, and we had a 401k, right? Well, what happens when the 401k collapses, right? Now, 2006 to 2008, then we were business, we were inside the business, and then we had XRP. We were hoping that the Simpsons predictions were right and we're going to be multimillionaires in 2020, right? And then what happened is COVID came and took our legs out from under us, took away our business. And so then we started to discover insurance. May and I started really early in insurance. I think it was like 2020, 2021. And we have made that a pillar of our family's ecosystem around insurance. And I know you guys just went to a big conference as well. And that's why we're so big on protection. So if you hear us constantly talking about cash value life insurance, I know the insurance industry gets a bad rap, but there's a very important component around that, around insurance, around the protection component. So, what are you seeing around the insurance? You guys just went to a really, really high level conference. So share a little bit about insurance.
Yeah, no, I personally feel that the indexing strategy is going to become more popular over the next 10 years, especially as we start to see the S&P start to grind down. And so for some people who don't understand what that means is that part of the, I guess, the play of why insurance is that your money is not directly in the markets like a variable asset, but it's mirroring the markets. And so when you guys hear JV speak about a defensive play, that's the protection piece in the capital DR, because like, probably many of you guys who are listening, even when we first got into investing and digital currency, I mean, we went all in on high risk. And boy, did we learn really fast.
Quick,
Right,
quick.
love?
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Yeah. JV's like, oh, don't bring it up. No, but we actually we joke and we kind of make fun of ourselves a little bit,
How
just
you learn, right?
because yes, that is exactly how you learn. And this is like, it's interesting in life. We often we remember the things that we probably shouldn't have done versus all the things that we did correctly, right? And I think that's on purpose, especially when it comes to your finances. And so after we went through that last bull run, we started to dabble into the infinite banking concept. And I just remember, don't you remember that day, babe? It's like
Mhm.
we learned that concept and our brains were like exploding. We were
Exploded.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
how in the
almost seemed
world?
it almost
Yeah.
seemed like it was like, this has to be a Ponzi. It can't be
Yeah.
real. It
That's
can't,
what I
yeah,
get
it
every
can't be
time.
real. It's like, is this a Ponzi scheme? Now we're in rotation number 3 in Capital DR. We're now using the
Mhm,
same dollar 3 times now. We're in
mhm.
number 3. So like, anyways, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's,
Yeah.
it's important because
Yeah.
we were like, because the reason why, guys, this is important,
Mhm,
is when someone says to me, that's a scam, I say, why do you believe what you believe? And I just look them in the eyes. And they're like, well, no, why do you believe that? It's because you had a bad experience with that product. That's what happened. And so when you set
mhm,
them up correctly and you understand the protection component and the leverage component and how to properly structure these and properly how to fund them, this is what the elites do, guys. They are
mhm,
using life insurance to live. It's life
mhm.
insurance. They're selling you death insurance. Anyways, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, and
Yeah.
depending on your internal abundance button is
Amen.
how you are going to determine, if anything is a good deal.
Yep.
Okay, so and I'll just speak to myself personally. I mean, for like the cost of what I pay every month for my personal IUL policies, most people would not even look at that. But for me, I'm like, this is worth it
Yep.
because it allows us to double dip our dollar, where you can take a loan against your policy and move that money into another appreciating asset and essentially multiply that asset. And then you keep essentially with the profits of each one that's paying you out, you just continue to move into other assets. And so, like JV, tell them, with inflation, I mean, it's not like they want us to believe it's 2-3%.
It's not true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's
go
not.
into that. Go
Yeah.
into that because that plays into why insurance.
Right. Why insurance? I mean, there's many different factors. Why XRP? Why Bitcoin? Why insurance? Because like, think about it. I think the dollar's lost 11% purchasing power just this year alone, right? So you're taught to go to school, get a job, get a 401k. So you put your money in something. The guy that created the 401k, he said it. I didn't say it. He said he made a product that made Wall Street wealthier. Right. So think about it. And we'll go into this. I have a big project coming out as well. The middle class was socially engineered, guys. You have to understand that it was a socially engineered product, that you are the actual product, your interest, right? You're either earning it or you're paying it. And then what they get you through after 1971, illegal taxation, is inflation. So you're sitting here, you're getting a 25% raise or maybe a 1.5% raise. Inflation is 3%, is probably like 10% per year. It doesn't matter if you're making 6% in your 401k, if you're losing 11% purchasing power, you have a 27% credit card, a 7% auto loan, and a 6% mortgage, you're not getting ahead. So what we do is we use the insurance when we pull profits. Stop listening to these people telling you to rubberneck, watch it go up and down, these price predictions, all this bullshit out there. Is what happens is the markets go up, the markets go down. We pull profits, we put it over to insurance. Okay. So now our principal is guaranteed. Then we borrow at very, very low interest and we crush the hurdle rate crushing inflation, right? So $1 becomes 3. So you have to start to think what our goal with this podcast and what we will do is start to help you rewire your brain on how you think about money. And I'll say it. Go ahead, Jeremy. Yeah,
Well,
please.
no, and one of the things that I just want to go before we get too off topic is when you said that like the dollar's lost 11% purchasing power. The problem when we're looking at averages, and this happens when people are like, well, if you invest in the S&P over a period of time, it averages 8%. It averages 8% over like 60 years. Depending on where you're at in that time span is different for every single person where they're at. Because if you look at the last 5 years, maybe inflation's definitely not at 2 or 3% in the last 5 years.
Right.
It's more like an average of 8%. So it's irrelevant to talk about the average as a whole based off of the time frame that you're specifically in. And that's one of the things that I talk about with when we're talking about insurance is that you would have wished that you had some type of life insurance policy if you retired in 2008 because your entire 401k was wiped out,
decimated,
right? So again, it's
Yes.
all about rewiring and thinking about things in a different perspective.
That's the main thing about it too, is it, and I love its core features is the protection to the downside, in my opinion. It's not your highest returning, like go and get it type of investment. That save that for the crypto, save that for your other ETFs that are supposed to give you the high returns. It's your downside coverage for when we do hit the storm, that you're not losing everything in a variable market. That is why you have to have different strategies. And Ray Dalio speaks to that. He has an all-weather portfolio. He has things that are culminated together that are different. They're what does he call it? They're inversely correlated. They're not correlated. So whenever money is in one cyclical thing, something else might be down, but it's not wiping you out like we've experienced, being very heavy in the early side into crypto where you're riding the waves. At least you can withstand those and keep your head above water.
I love that. Well, speaking of crypto and waves, we got the.
Can I add something, JV?
Oh yeah.
Cool. I just wanted to add something real quick about as far as like for the new people that are kind of maybe watching, listening to what we're talking about. Maybe you don't understand what we're talking about, but I promise you feel what we're talking about, right? And I talk about this when I meet with my Ascension clients, right? And it's like, so when I started off and we all started off, like I lived with my parents and then I got, I paid them some rent, then I got an apartment and then I upgraded to maybe renting. And then I upgraded to a condo and a house and I wasn't living a crazy lifestyle. Right. And then I started my career and I was making money, right? A lot more money than I was making when I was living at my parents' house. But it didn't matter what I did or how much much more money I made. I was still living to paycheck, right? So if you're listening to all of this and you're saying, what are they talking about? I promise you, like you keep evolving in your career, even if you save a little bit of money and you're not like, frivolously spending and going like, Lambos and all that stuff, right? You're just like the regular car. Maybe you take a vacation every once in a while, but you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Why is that? It's because of what we're talking about. We're talking about inflation, right? We're talking about the devaluation of the dollar that they say is literally 11%. We think it's higher, but let's say it's 11%. So that's 11% every year. So what that means is if you're trying to do the right thing and you're sitting there and putting money in your savings account, you're losing 11% every year. That's why it doesn't matter if you're making more money in your job or whatever's happening. You're being devalued, right? And it wasn't until I got into investing and learning about cryptocurrencies and all that stuff that I really kind of wrapped my brain and understood, holy shit, like no wonder I was living paycheck to paycheck. I wasn't investing, right? I wasn't putting my money in something to beat that hurdle rate 11% every year, right? Because if you're getting 11%, you're just break even. You need to get above that hurdle rate that you talk about, JV. And so it wasn't until I started investing and finding assets to get into that finally I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck. Now that flow was coming back to me, right? But for the new people, like that's what you're experiencing when you're living paycheck to paycheck, even though you're making more money, it's that inflation, that silent tax, right? And the devaluation of the dollar that's killing you, right? And that's why you need to invest. That's why Capital DR is so important because that's what it teaches you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay, so you inspired me, Gonzo, and JV, you should tell them more about this because we speak heavily to this inside the academy, is that part of the indoctrination system is because you do not invest first. You do not pay yourself first, like what Gonzo was saying. You know, we live in a society where when you start to make more money, you're going to buy another car, you're going to buy a bigger house. You will never get ahead. And so JV does such a good job with self-discipline that he has taught all of this to us and to everybody inside the academy. And part of that self-discipline is financial discipline. And it's paying yourself first.
Yep. Discipline, discipleship. That's what it is, guys. Everybody's disciplined. Your life, look around your life, financially, spiritually, everybody's disciplined. If you're disciplined eating McDonald's, there's a result of that, right? So there's a really important part of this. Well, I want to go to Gonzo to talk about the markets, right? People like, we're in a bear market, we're in a super cycle, it's different this time. Like, what is actually going on with the markets? And that's one thing we want to share with you guys is we are not, oh shoot, I keep doing that. Sorry guys, we're getting used to this. We are not market sensitive, we are cycle sensitive. We don't bank on super cycles, we don't base on price predictions. We fill buckets, systems, processes, structures, containers. What we do is we move through the cycle and we fill these buckets that we're talking about. And we'll go deeper as we build the podcast. We'll go deeper into maybe one whole podcast on cash flow. We'll kind of see, and let us know too in the comments what you guys would like to learn. But Gonzo, share with us what you think's going on with the markets in regards to, is it a super cycle? Is it a utility run? Is it the bear market? What is going on with the markets right now?
So if you want to bring up my screen, I'll add it. I think it's right there. There we go. Yeah. So first of all, I'm just going to be 100% honest, and like, I don't believe in super cycles, right? Listen, a lot of people talk about the 4-year cycle and then they get confused by it and they say, well, it can't be that simple. Like, why would Bitcoin follow a 4-year cycle? Well, first of all, the 4-year cycle is not specific to Bitcoin. It's specific to investing, right? Like, if you were to look at the S&P 500, I said this when we were doing the live last Friday, is if you look from 1952 to I think it was about 1982, we created a low every 4 years, right? And the best answer that I can come up with it is that it's because it involves human beings, and human beings are predictable. We create patterns, and that creates the 4-year cycle. But it's not specific to cryptocurrency or to Bitcoin for Bitcoin to kind of master it or to break it. It's specific to investing, right? And so I do not believe we are in a super cycle. I believe we're in a bear market. I believe that we topped in October. That's why I did the call in the academy on October 18th saying why I believe the bull run is over, right? And so I'll bring it up real quick, but I'll just show you guys and just something very simple for you guys about like bull markets and bear markets, right? When we're in a bull run, most of the time we spend trending up and then, trending down, right? Crashing. And then you get these big breakouts that come up. And you can see that here, right? We're trending down, we break up, we trend down, we break up, we trend down, big break up, trend down, break up. It's the very opposite, right? When we're in bear markets, right? And so the big discussion right now is like, a lot of people are saying that the low is in, this is it, super cycle, all that stuff. I don't believe that at all, right? Like, if you look at this pattern that I'm showing you right here, these are what's called bear flags, right? And in bear markets, what happens? Like I said, it's the opposite. We have these big corrections that come down, and then we spend a lot of time trending up, and it confuses people. So if you look from the October top, we had a big correction, and then we kind of trended up, and then we broke down. And now we're trending up, and I believe we are going to break down, right? Very similarly to what's happening or what happened in the last cycle, right? And if you look, like, here's our first bear flag, we broke down, we had another one, and we broke down, right? So the big discussion for people that do believe that we're in a bear market is, where are we currently in the cycle? Are we somewhere around right here, where it was like our first kind of major correction, and then we kind of rallied up and then broke down, right? And if you look at, we have to see, right? So if I draw a trend line and I show you, we had this major support line that came across right here at about like 30K, where we kind of created the bear flag, and then eventually we lost the support, and then we came down lower, right? So a lot of people are saying that, are we here or are we here, right? And so what I'm looking at is kind of the same thing. Like, we had this major support that came across right here, right? We had the first bear flag, and then we dropped, and then we had all this resistance that we're kind of coming up against, and we're going to drop again. So I believe that if you look at this little flag pattern right here, we're kind of very similar to what's happening right here. Major support that was broken down. And so for me, we're going down lower, right? I do not believe we're in a super cycle. I don't believe that we're going that like all of a sudden this thing's going to take off and we're going to go higher. Like, I think this is all just to trap people and to make them believe that we're in a super cycle, but eventually we're going to drop lower, right? And if you measure the wave that's happening from the bottom to the top, right? Here's your little golden pocket. I think this is the next area that we're going to, somewhere between, could be 54, 55K, and then we have to wait and see. But if everything stays status quo, right, and the 4-year cycles are intact, which I believe they are, this is why I made the bet with Shelly that we're going below 40K. Because in every other cycle, we have bottomed out between this 786 and 886 fib, right? And if you notice, the 786 is at about 39K. And that's why I made the bet with Shelly that eventually, as we get towards October, I believe that we're going to be somewhere around here. So I think we're going to lose 39K.
With Shelly?
Right?
Do you have cash up on the line with Shelly?
Is there cash involved?
There is no cash involved, but there's a lot of other stuff involved. I'm not going to go into it.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure I'm going to win the bet. So
There
we're
you
going to
go.
wait and see. We're going to wait and see. But
Like
like,
going to be doing dishes for
every-
the rest of his life.
exactly.
Yeah.
Talking about something else.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, it might not be that.
Yeah, on Shelly's side, it involves dishes, laundry, like all of the errands and all that stuff.
Oh,
On my side, it's a little bit different. But every single cycle, we've come down into this, I call it the super fib level. And so that's what I think, right? This is all just noise. And I think that, you know, we have to pay attention in May. You can, depending on when we kind of come down, where we set that bottom in May going into the summer. But look, we topped in October, just like we expected. We were, the 4-year cycles are intact, I believe. So we usually end up somewhere around here. So I think we're going to end up, by the time we get to October, sub 40K, somewhere between kind of like 30K and 39K. We have to wait and see how it plays out. But this is what I think is going on right now, right? Like, we're rallying up, people are getting trapped, and then eventually we're going to drop. And then we have to wait to see what happens in that drop.
Gonzo, I know that you can't actually foresee the future, but a lot of the times with charting, we can predict what's going to happen because, you know, people are emotional, and we can, you know, get the sense that the charts really show us like their emotion, and we can track that and chart that specifically. But Vera Boofy Floofin here in the chat says you can show folks that all day and still they'll choose hopium. In the time that you've been doing charts and talking to people in the academy, why do you think that you can show them facts all day and you can show them what's going to happen? You can even show that you were right and something happened, and they are still going to choose the hopium. Like, why do you think that happens?
You know, I think because most people are, you know, I think what it really comes down to is what we're talking about overall, right? It's that whole thing with the 11% hurdle rate, and it's people just get so crushed. And as human beings, we have to believe in something, right? You have to have hope. So they hold on to that hope, right? And they look at things and they say, if I could, you know, if XRP could just do this, then I'll be okay. Like, if Bitcoin could just do this, and then we'll be okay, right?
That's what I was gonna say. Is people want to believe in something else outside of themselves.
Yeah,
they
that's
don't
it.
trust themselves.
That's it. That's it. That's
Exactly.
The fact. And if you get a society, that's what the book is all about that's coming out. If you get a society addicted to something out, a savior coming out of the sky, XRP to 589, Bitcoin to 225, whatever it is, it's that carrot that you dangle, and you can move society any way you want. And so that's what we're working to do, is to help you guys unwire out of that, to have self-empowerment. So what if XRP goes to zero? What if it goes to zero, guys?
Yeah.
What's next? Like, does that mean your life is, you
Shiba
know,
coin is
life
next.
still
Shiba
goes
coin.
on.
life still goes on. Life's going to go on without you. And so what people use as retirements, the elites are trading, guys. Like what people use as retirements or think are retirement, 401k, cryptocurrency, they're trading that stuff back and forth, and they're going to dump on your ass. And so you have to build the protection, you have to build the structure. And, you know, and people are internally optimistic, as you're talking about. It's like we want, there's nothing wrong with believing in something.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the, having the opportunistic and believing that is what has made America one of the most innovative countries in the shortest period of time.
Right.
Is because of that.
Yep.
But again, sometimes there's certain things that optimism at some point when there's a certain type of fact, maybe you pull back a little bit
Sure.
on what it is. Or like
Yep.
Jackie was saying earlier with like diversifying into certain things.
Mhm.
Because at what point your whole retirement plan was what? XRP going to 589?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, that's the whole point of it too, is you have to have your hand in it. You have to have some skin in the game, because when you completely, that's where we've gotten to. We've completely passed the buck off to everyone else and not taken responsibility.
Yep.
And when you get to that point, that's when, you know, you are left to hope in everything else but yourself. And then you don't have control over anything.
Yeah.
And that's the energy that's coming forward, right?
yes.
Mhm.
Talk
It's
about
reclaiming that
Yep.
energy and reclaiming your personal sovereignty. And a
Mhm.
lot of people want freedom, but then they don't want the steps in order to obtain it.
Yep.
But right now, like, this is the biggest year that I truly feel that everybody is feeling this change. We label this, I'm a big human design advocate, but this is technically the year of the door closing. And so this is literally the door closing to old belief systems, the door closing to blind leadership, which part of that, like Jackie just said, it's you need to be responsible for you. Stop outsourcing responsibility. And that falls directly within our finances, because we will witness all of these old systems and processes crumble. I mean, look they just redid the food pyramid. They inverted it, right? Like, who really thought that we needed like 12 loaves of bread a day? You know what I mean? Like who thought
It was so
that?
good though.
I was so
good.
sad
So
about that,
good.
though. No more French toast.
There's a South Park episode.
I know.
I
and
wanted
like
to believe in it. I wanted to believe in it.
There's a South
right,
Park episode,
exactly.
like-
Yes,
Can I-
but go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to add that it's so funny because like in the academy, like it's come up with JV and stuff, like people think that I hate XRP or that I'm telling people not to invest in XRP. And that's not it, right? We joke about it. Like people are going to get t-shirts made that I'm the XRP dream crusher, right? And I'm not trying to be like, I'm just trying to be realistic. And I'm not telling you that XRP is not a great investment, because it is a great investment, but you have to pick your spots, right? Like, what I'm saying is, let's let the cycles play through. When we get into lower prices, let's back up the truck, right? Get in at that bottom, and then as it goes back up, let's scale out and take profits, right?
That's how you build
People
wealth.
yeah, exactly, and that's what locked in. So people always get confused and they go, "Well, what are you saying, that you don't believe in XRP?" No, I'm not saying that I don't believe in XRP. I'm saying that XRP is not going to 589. It's not going to $100, right? We are so extremely early. We're very, very speculative, right? Just understand where we are at. And there are places where you can position yourself. Like, I believe that, like, people ask this all the time, like, where do I think XRP is going to? I believe it's the bottom of the range, right? The bottom of the range is 64 cents. And that's not specific to XRP, or I'm not shitting on XRP. Every single other altcoin has just lost all of the gains and gone right to the bottom of the range. That is the bottom of the range. Is it going to go to 64 cents? It can stop at 65. It can stop at 67. That's why in the academy, I talk about we're going to DC our way in towards that bottom, because we don't know exactly if it's going to stop. You know, if you wait for 64 cents, because I said 64 cents, well, maybe it stops at 66, right? And then you miss out on it. So when we lose that 111 low, when we get sub $1, which I believe we are, let's scale in, right? We'll keep buying all the way down. And then we sit on our hands and we wait for it to come out the other end, and we scale out, right? That's all I'm saying. People think that, like, I hate XRP. I don't hate XRP. It's a great investment. Like, fundamentals show you what to invest in that's going to be here in the future, right? But what I'm saying is we play these cycles out based on human emotion, right? And so you have to just position yourself in the right way and make sure that you're taking profit so you can continue to gain wealth.
Right. And I think that's where it comes into the identity, right? If people get identified with XRP, it's like, it is the only thing that's going to save me. And they lose all logic in regards to investing. It's like when I sold, I guess probably remember this, Gonzo, and when Johnny K's on here as well, is when I sold XRP, I sold 10% of 50% of my XRP at $2.70. People went ballistic on me on X.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I bought your crypto on 10/10/2025. I went back in and bought the dip. That's what it is. And now I'm holding 50% forever. I'm holding all my Bitcoin, but it's being attached to these, because if you think that a market's just going to continue to go up all the time, right? That's
It's not
that's
gonna
not how it
happen.
works.
Not how it
That's
works.
not
And
how it
you
works.
know,
Yeah.
can I say this though too, babe? Like it's also financial education.
Mhm.
Right? Because I remember at our conference, remember my mom came and I asked her after, I said, Mommy, what was like the one thing that you remembered from our Freedom Conference? She's, I don't know, 61, give or take a couple years. She's ageless in my eyes, so I have no idea how old she is, but she's in her 60s. And she said, she was like, I had no idea when Johnny K was telling us that when somebody profits, another person loses.
Yes,
A
yes.
market is a market is a
Market's a market. Yeah.
Market
So
is a market.
yeah, so like, can we go into that? Because I mean,
Yeah.
this is general education that people don't know. And so I feel like people don't understand not all assets rise in the same tide.
Right.
When somebody wins, I mean, somebody loses, like there is no participation trophies here, guys.
Yeah.
And like
Right?
Gonzo says
Yeah.
it best, there's a
Mhm.
market anywhere. There's a market everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah,
Mhm.
or there's a bull run everywhere. I
Yeah.
forgot how you say it, Gonzo. You say, what
Yep.
do you say?
There's a bull run
There's a
everywhere.
bull
There's
run.
There's a bull run somewhere, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
bull
why
run
we
somewhere.
transitioned out of crypto. It was metals, and then
Yeah.
now we're coming to the end of the business cycle, right? And that goes kind of like I
Mhm.
was going to make this comment about like recessions, right? Recession is that big scary word, but in reality, when you look at the history of like how business cycles play out, like it is what it is, right? Like business cycles end with recessions. It's a normal thing. What's happened is you
Yes.
get like politics involved and the government involved, and they're trying to stop the recession from happening.
Mhm.
Because if we go into a recession, then they're not going to get voted in and they're going to lose their power, right?
Yeah.
But like recessions are normal things, right? And I've been saying in the academy, look, guys, it looks like we're coming to the end of a business cycle. I get what Raoul Paul and everybody says. I could just tell you what I believe and what I've studied, right? The last thing that goes up in that business cycle is energy. And I get it that energy or oil is going up because of the war, but what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? Like we're coming to the end of the business cycle and we were expecting that oil was going to pop off. That's why I gave the trade in the academy. I didn't know when the war, I didn't know in my head, like I didn't know that the war was going to pop off that weekend. What I knew was hey, it looks like we're coming to the end of a business cycle. Energy starting to move. Oil looks like it's going to go up. So let's get into a trade. We got in at $68. That weekend, the war popped off and oil took off, right? Boom. And so, and that's why we did that. Same thing when gold was taking off. Hey, it looks like this thing wants to run. Let's get into this. And it ran, right? And so that's just the way that these things play out sometimes.
Yeah. And so like there's just a picture I always tell the people in the academy, picture an interest symbol, you're earning it or you're paying it. That's it. That's the game.
That's
guys.
really all the game is.
You're paying it or you're earning it. So every time I get paid, I'm paid in your debt. Okay. There's no real money in the system. So when I get a paycheck, when I labor, okay, when you labor, you get paid in debt. When you realize that, you're like, that's gross. So when you get your paycheck, it is someone else's debt. That's all there is, guys. So if you get paid in debt and you take that debt and you buy more debt, guess what you're doing? You're giving away future labor. You're never going to get out of the hole. So when you get paid, richest man in Babylon, you take the debt and you convert it into something that's going to create cash flow. But now that's trash. It's more debt. You take the cash flow, you take the excess outside of debts and non-negotiables, and you put it into assets that beat inflation. And you don't get married to these assets and you don't chase price predictions and hopium. Don't leverage your cryptocurrency, guys. I'm just going to say that very clearly. Do not leverage your cryptocurrency in a volatile market. A lot of people are saying, lock up your crypto, leverage against it, live off it. If you're going to do that, well, for example, we did a Bitcoin loan to buy our brokerage. We bought our firm. We leveraged 25% of our Bitcoin. Okay, here's Murphy's Law. The day after we borrowed, the market collapsed. The market, Trump announced tariffs, right? It was 100% tariffs. And we had done a Bitcoin loan to buy our brokerage. And boom.
Oh, no way.
Literally, we got the loan.
Yeah, we got the loan.
And then it fell apart.
And tell them what you had to do, JV.
I had to
Tell-
go ahead. What are you saying?
Yeah, tell them what you had to do in order to not lose your Bitcoin, because this is what people need to
You have
understand.
to put more money in there.
You have to put more money.
You have to have the money on the side. Yeah. So what these influencers are telling you to do is just put your, it sounds easy, right? Just lock up your crypto and then borrow against it to live. Well, where's the money to pay back the crypto? Like if you're borrowing to buy an asset that's going to pay cash flow to pay it back, but all of a sudden 10, 20, 25 happens and you lose all your crypto. Right? You don't. So that's why, going back to insurance, that's why we use insurance on the family banking side. Okay. So I know we went way off the rails there, but
that's the point of the podcast. That's why
it's beautiful.
It's going to be a 3-hour podcast.
Yes. And and let's say this though too, JV, we borrowed from Bitcoin. Number one, JV likes to test things before he speaks about it. Number two, we knew our numbers for that business.
To the
So
T.
you should
Yep.
to the T. So we already knew what was coming in. I could, forecast, okay, I have this many agents doing this. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it wasn't like this blind thing that we were throwing, spaghetti at the wall where, the borrowing from an insurance, like from your IUL policy, from your own bank, that is much safer, especially for like a new business. I would never borrow in a variable asset if you're going for a new business because you won't have any cash flow to
Correct.
pay that back, right? And
Yep.
that's the beauty with insurance is you don't technically have to pay it back. You don't have that pressure. It
Mhm.
just comes off the death benefit at time of death.
Yeah. So, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was
Yeah,
just gonna say, May, can you one thing that I think I wanted to have you talk about that we
Mhm.
maybe didn't is when we were at the Succession Capital
Mhm.
conference, one of the key things that I thought was interesting was that the way that they positioned insurance as liquidity
Mm.
and not
Mhm.
just life insurance, but insurance in general. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I know. I love their perspective, which is everything in life, right? So, the same concept of infinity banking is also liquidity insurance because number one, you are backed by a life insurance product with this, right? Number one. What that means is that you have, example, you have a death benefit of 1 million. What that essentially says is that I have $1 million of liquidity at time of death.
Yeah.
And so there are like you have to think of that. Like for me, when I pass, I mean my kids are going to be loaded, all right? Because I know that without me present, they, like we pay for a lot of things for them, right? So at the forefront, your family members need to be covered if you pass away, can they stay in the house that raised your children in? Can your spouse afford the bills? If you pass away, like if God forbid something happens to JV, do you really think I'm going to show up to work the next day to keep grinding? Absolutely not. Like I'm going to need some time to mourn, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
you
So
love me. You love me.
I do love you. So there's that liquidity insurance. And then depending where you're at in your walk of life, you might need that liquidity insurance for estate taxes to
Yeah.
offset state tax or estate taxes because again, do you just have another $15 million on the sideline hanging out somewhere?
Maybe. Just kidding.
Maybe, maybe not, right?
When we get married, you'll find out.
Yeah.
That's right. I better.
I better find out.
Yes.
Shout out to-
Yes.
Oh, I'm
guys.
sorry.
Get people like get a room, JV. Jesus.
Well, what's interesting about that too, May, is I had to put because Dustin helps me with stuff and he might have to drive the Sequoia. I was putting him on the Sequoia insurance yesterday to make sure that was available if we had to do that when we travel or when we go to XRP Las Vegas. If he's going to drive, I want to make sure that it's insured or whatever. But even when we think about like car insurance, any insurance, like if you got into a car accident without having insurance on it, you have to come up with cash in some capacity to pay for the
Correct.
stuff that happened on your car.
Mm.
And so that's also a period of creating some type of liquidity. And I think that that's really important. And again, not just because we have an insurance company that I want to talk about this, but just in general, that's like a good kind of like way to manage like future things happening is that if you don't have the liquidity to pay for an event, you need to make sure that you have the liquidity for that because those are the things that can really set people back. And those are the things that can throw people off of their plan, especially if they have a plan on what they're investing every week or investing every month to build generational wealth.
Amen. And if you are still driving and you're 80 years old, are you still responsible for having car
probably
insurance?
be driving right now.
That's true.
But that's my point, right? So if you're still driving, you're 80 years old, you're still going to have a car insurance premium.
Yep.
You're still going to have mortgage insurance.
Yep.
So why is everybody get so bent out of shape?
With
With life insurance,
Yeah.
right?
Jackie, do you mind if we go into astrology? Because I know it's a lot of people. So this is one thing I'll share with you guys. So you guys know, I think it's very clear that I believe in God and Jesus Christ. I believe Jesus Christ is King. Doesn't mean that it's anything against anybody else. Jesus Christ is a representation of love. Jeremy is Buddhist, right? We love everybody in our academy. And our academy is not a religious program. It is a program of human beings coming together to expand consciousness. But I love God and Jesus Christ. So when I bring up astrology, people are like, oh my God. And so I try to associate it with cycles, but Jackie is phenomenal at tying together markets. You said something why I bring this up is on our investment meeting today, you said something that was interesting. You said markets measure backwards. So can you talk about that? Because it's stuck in my head and I want to hear more about that. So
yeah, I thank you for bringing that up. So everything else that we have in terms of tracking markets, when it comes to technical analysis or any other types of indicators that big financial advisors and brokerages use, they're all lagging. All of these are lagging indicators, right? Gonzo's shaking his head. Oh yeah. And the amazing thing about studying cycles and astrology is it's a leading indicator, because you know where those things will be going, what aspects that they will be taking in the future. And so that's why I think it's really awesome. Our team is just absolutely phenomenal. We've got almost every form of analysis that you could possibly think of when it comes to the esoteric, exoteric energies. I mean, everything. And I just have to say this. I love you guys. The fact that we are just so dedicated to our craft and bringing that in one vision to help the greater world. I just know we're never going to fail. We will never fail. And so that's why I love using that form of analysis, though. To get back to that, is it's just another tool in the tool belt, and it's a leading indicator that can help you navigate, where cycles are coming, help you navigate the markets even further. So combining that with technical analysis, fundamental analysis, reading, feminine and masculine energies and things like that within yourself, because that's the number one thing I think for when people are starting their investment journey, is that they need to understand who they are as a person. Because if you can start to recognize patterning of, feeling anxious or white knuckling the dollar that you have and not throwing it into the markets and things like that, when you start to become aware of your patterns when it comes to investing, then you will be able to, mitigate some of those things and become a better investor. So I think it's true for every single one of us. When we started, I think that was one of the biggest helps, was realizing how we responded in peaks and troughs of market cycles. Yeah, I think that's really important.
That's awesome. That's
beautiful. Amen. Your energetic maturity will tell it all. Because I know a lot of our warriors come in. Sometimes they leave so fast because they're not a millionaire yet, right? It's there's a reason for that. You're not ready for that. You're not. And a lot of that deals with somebody's energetic maturity. Because if we are immature, then that's going to show up in our finances.
Yeah, I know. The reason why it didn't happen for me is I was a broken little boy, man. I didn't have my shit together. That's why, just so you guys know, just to be very clear, people like you, I say, get your shit together. I'm literally looking at a mirror when I'm doing my videos. I'm saying it to myself every day. Warriors, rise, get your shit together. I'm staring at myself. It's a reminder to myself. And I can tell you unequivocally that maturity has everything to do with money. When I got my shit together spiritually, physically, and financially, wealth, just abundance came to me, right? And I attracted a really hot woman. But the thing about this
that was the main thing.
The divine masculine and divine feminine are we're going to talk more about that in our academy and on these calls and stuff, because there is every man, I don't know if you want to hear this or not, but you have feminine inside of you, right? So I was immature feminine. I had a lot of unhealed wounds within myself, and it showed up in my finances. I made bad decisions financially. I was undisciplined. I didn't have a budget. I would make rash decisions, right? Now I have a decision model where I wait 3 days before I make a decision. I seek wise counsel. But those are things we'll be talking about on this podcast as well, because there is a aspect of divine feminine, divine masculine, and capital DR actually represents both. It has systems, process, structures, predictability. So men, if you're sloppy financially, if you're sloppy in the spiritual realm or physically, it's going to show up in your finances. It's going to show up in your ecosystem. And to call them, I put a quote out today that probably will upset some people, but I said, depression is caused through lack of discipline. That's what it's caused through, spiritually, physically, and financially. So if you want to remove depression, now there's clinical depression, but I'm talking about self-induced depression and anxiety comes from lack of physical, spiritual, and financial discipline. So those are things that are important.
Also, like anxiety or being someone who kind of suffers a little bit from borderline personality disorder. Even when discipline in the things that you do on a regular basis, even for things that could be clinical, in my opinion, behaviorally can have a positive impact. Because if I'm meditating every day, or if I'm planning the things that I need to do on a regular basis, it reduces that future anxiety that's happening, because that's what planning does. And then if you couple that with meditation, it can relax you and it can bring you into a state of calm. So then that way you're able to manage those other ups and downs that come with an emotional irregulation.
Yeah.
And so, and to your point with the divine masculine and divine feminine CJV, one of the things that you say a lot, because I edit the podcast, you talk a little, not this podcast, but the Coach JV podcast. On that podcast, you talk about, like, I forgot exactly how you say it, but you say it to the extent that one of the things that deters women from looking to their man for support is when a man tells a woman that they're going to do something and then they don't do it. Like when I was talking to my partner Maria, when we were talking, she had mentioned that, like, in her previous marriage that she had, like, there would be something that needed to be done around the house or just something simple. And he would be like, I'm going to get to it. And then months would go by and then she would do it. And then they would get upset because like, I was
lack of consistency.
like, when were you going to do it?
When?
Right. And then but for me personally, when I looked to that, I saw that in my own previous marriage as well. The same thing exact happened. It was like, I'm going to do that. So when you have that lack of discipline, really everything really comes down to the discipline and the consistency and staying true to the commitments that you're going to stay, even for those small things.
Yeah. And why it's so important for men too is like, and obviously the women can speak up on this. I'll speak from my perspective, but like, for example, the way men operate is something could go wrong, like in a relationship, like May could get upset at me about something. Next day, I'm like a puppy. I'm good to go. I'm like, hey, she's nice to me. Next day, we're good. But a man, just so you know, man, you could be perfect for like 12 months and you screw up one day and oh my God, all that 12 months is gone. That's why consistency for men is so important. But with men, the woman can screw up for 12 months and then all of a sudden one day she give you some love and you're like, hey, I'm good to go. I'm back. Right. It's opposite. It's polarized. Right. So men, you got it. Consistency is really important, not just with women, but in your finances. Right. So this whole manosphere thing that's coming out right now. I don't know if you guys saw that whole thing. It's like there's the documentary out, right? And so and it was a big hit piece on that part. I don't know. Have you guys seen that documentary?
No.
Oh, you got to watch it.
What is
it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's called Manosphere. Yeah. So this is we should talk about this because this goes into, and this is, I know it was designed for a hit piece on the Andrew Tates, this guy named HS, the Sneeko. It was about the Manosphere, right?
Did you see it? Not to get off topic, but if you have, there's a really funny, not funny, but a thing where Andrew Tate goes off on Sneeko. I don't know. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Anyway,
So the point about this is, like, I'm not here to judge any of those men. What I'm saying is there was a hit piece on the Manosphere, right? Where was I going with this? Where Manosphere. Oh, there's this imbalance, right? It's like this whole thing where for men, it's like this dominion over women and tell them what to do and you cook and clean and you do that stuff. And it's like, that's not how it works, guys. It's an ecosystem. It's a organic thing that works together. So men, if you're disciplined, if you're consistent, if you're structured, the woman magnetizes. It naturally happens. You don't have to force it, right? For example, May will be like, JV, keep saying it or lead it. She's like, lead. She's like, do it. Like, you can keep saying it and repeating. I had a situation recently. I kept, she's like, I heard the word lead come through and I was like, it just struck me, right? I was like, get your shit together. So I'm leading it, right? It was just, I can keep complaining about it or you can lead it, right? But that's, and women too, that's inside of, it's inside of you two women. Sometimes, we help a lot of women who just came through divorce, right? And it's like, all the time. And it's like, they're like, hey, you gotta lead right now. You're gonna have to be in your masculine right now, right? So
that's how you. Jackie, do you want to go and then I'll go?
Oh, real quick. I was just gonna say, I saw so many comments in the chat about that, guys, of people asking, do you guys teach this in the academy with coaches and things like that? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But it's also too, I can't even tell you how many clients will reach out or just right energetically, it's synchronistically just show up and it's a single mom or single, like, divorced woman or things like that. I just can't even tell you how many women are starting, and May's gonna go into this a little bit more, but how many women are starting to feel that burden of having to lean into their masculine when they really haven't had to previously. And so the financial realm is kind of an anxious and scary place for them. So May and I have experienced that so much when it comes to coaching within the 3T Warrior Academy and within Freedom Insurance. And so go ahead, May. I think you were gonna
Yeah, I
go.
have so much to say. So, number one, don't let me forget to tell them, Jackie, about the women's wealth transfer. This is something that's predominantly happening over the next 4 years, where there's about $10 trillion right now, and it's moving to over $30 trillion, and it's falling into the hands of a woman. Now, just like Jackie said, and it's really important for that self-development, because the more that you know who you are, the more that you will be able to hold in your hands. Okay, and that goes for men and women. But the power of healing the divinity within you, which is the masculine and the feminine, is going to enhance that, because this is a topic that JV, he started to really speak to men about some years back. And so a lot of people just don't understand the healthy traits of a masculine and a feminine, because we didn't really have that modeling growing up.
Yep.
And so that's huge, right? So a lot of us carry those wounds into adulthood right now. And so, like a healthy masculine, it is leadership at the forefront, right? Whenever men are not leading, it is not attractive. Okay. So part of leadership is making decisions. It's staying committed. It's being consistent, right? And through that consistency, like Jeremy was saying, that brings peace to a woman, because it's predictable. Right? Predictability is a masculine trait. And so for women, I think every woman, honestly, right now is being called back to the core of who she is. And so we've been coaching a lot of women, like JV and Jackie have been saying. And this is why I think, too, why insurance is so powerful, because until a woman feels safe within her body, nothing will magnetize. When a woman does not feel safe, she armors up and she starts to act like a man. She will become hyper independent. She will hyper work. And a lot of that also falls back to her relationship with her dad when she was little. Because a lot of us, and I love my daddy so much, I still call him daddy, because I'm like still parenting that little girl inside of me. But a lot of us women, we had to perform for our parents or for our dad in order to get attention, and loved in order to be seen. And so then now we have this society full of hyper masculinized women who are acting like a bunch of dudes, and polarity does not like that, right?
not.
Like JV does not want to be married to another dude.
Nope.
Okay. When he says business partner with Jeremy, like that is like their business, right?
Yeah.
I am his partner, so I should be the feminine, but that's something that we have been learning in our relationship.
Yep.
It's like I cannot be going hard all the time, because then I lose my feminine essence. And then it's like there's two leaders at the table.
Right.
Yep.
And then do you find, and this is a question for you, May, just out of curiosity, not between specifically CJV, but
It's
in
turned
general,
into a marriage
but then
council.
do both,
No.
yeah, right.
I love it.
But then do both people, like then both people, the male and the female, then they compete,
Yes. No.
right?
That's,
Oh
And
my
they're not
gosh.
supposed to
We-
compete, right? That's a big problem.
we
that
deal with
have.
that. May and I we'll talk openly about this. Like we run businesses together. So here we are, like we have conversations about this. We had a conversation about competition. We're very clear and honest with each other. It's like we can't compete against each other, right? That's one of the biggest things. Is what happens is we start to create this perception, because we're both she's in her masculine at work. I'm obviously very masculine, right? And then it's like she comes home and she has to be masculine. Then we're having these conversations. Sometimes she just wants me to listen, and I'm in my problem solving, and I'm trying to solve her problems. She's like, I just want you to listen to me, right? And so then it creates this competition. You shut down, then your wall goes up. She becomes masculine. She has a wall. I become feminine. I start crying. No, I'm just kidding. But we both. But it is true, because I'm looking for that softness, right, from a female, and we're talking. But this is couples. This is probably powerful for couples, because when you sometimes your wife comes home and she just wants you to listen. She doesn't want you to, because like my brain, I have a logical circuit. I literally, if something is not wrong, I create a problem to fix it. Right. So like I have to shut that off in my brain and be like, just listen, JV, just listen. She's not, because I'm like, I can solve this right now. She's like, I don't want you to solve it. I can solve it myself. Like, right. You put me in this position to solve it. Go ahead. Sorry.
And it's not solve, and it's not the not solve. It's don't solve it too quickly. And again, just dropping a line, me and Jack are going to be building something inside the academy one of these days around this stuff. But at the forefront, masculine energy is logic. It comes from the mind. Feminine energy is the heart, and it comes from the body.
Yep.
And so women need to be heard. That's why a lot of times women reach for women, because it's part of the hormones that we secrete. Like, we reach for help, right? And so I guess bonus round, it's Friday, men. Okay. If you really want to get on your wife's good graces tonight, it's like, ask her how her day was. Let her complain.
Right.
Right? Yeah, right. I know. Yeah.
He's gonna use this later against you, girl. You better be careful.
I know. Here it
He
comes.
literally got the pen
I'm like,
out.
how was your day, man?
Yes, you've been doing that more lately.
At
He
1:30.
has. Yeah, no, because it's like feminine energy is more of the complaining. Masculine energy is the fixing, but you can't fix too fast. Like, women need to purge it. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that you are going through that. What can I do? Like JV said it the other day, because I think he could tell I was a little bit testy. I don't know, it's kind of a little bit for no reason. And he's like, what can I do to make your day better?
I was like,
And I was like, I like that.
I know. I'm like, I ain't doing nothing wrong. Must be something wrong with her.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do
yeah.
nothing better.
I'm perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
This is
No, it's good though. It's everybody needs to know this polarity, because
yes.
that is the biggest issue in society right now, because single moms are going up. There's too many dads not paying child support,
But
and
yeah, can I-
women. Yeah,
say
go
something?
ahead.
Honestly, 'cause
Mhm.
I'm going to go on this tangent right now. So this is what I believe the pandemic is. Oh shoot, I did that again. I have this thing where I keep turning on my microphone. Hold on. Sorry. Is where men, okay, so like men are trying to find, and I'll speak from my own paradigm, is that I kept looking for purpose. I'm looking for purpose. Your purpose is to protect spiritually, physically, and financially. That's your purpose. Through there, you find who you are, and what you're supposed to do comes to you, right? So my job is to protect spiritually, lead my family. I pray over my family. We pray, it's a spiritual covering that we have over our family. Physically, I take care of myself so that something happens, somebody attacks May or my kids, I can protect them physically. And then financially, my job is to make sure that she can rest, right? She's like, hey, I'm going to get my nails done. Use your credit card, right? I'm going to get my hair done. She should not have to worry about finances. Now, there's a process you have to go through to get there, but I kept looking for purpose. But that is in the man's DNA. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, that's what we're supposed to do. But the problem is we don't come out of a cave and we don't go hunt for food. We go to the 7-Eleven and we get an energy drink, and then we go sit at a job that we effing hate, and then we're buried in debt. This is what they beat us into compliance. Then you come home and you're like, man, I want to get laid. So you come home and you haven't been leading, so she doesn't feel sexy. She doesn't feel flowy. She's in her masculine because she's been working all day. She hates her boss. She wants you to listen to her, but you're pissed off because you want to get laid. So you have that lens off because you're not taking care of yourself. And it's just, like May said, it's all out of balance, and it's lack of polarity. So if you want to have the woman see you as attractive, right? Get your shit together, work out, get spiritual, like lead your family and lead. That's
Make a decision.
Make a decision. That's the thing I've learned. And I'm just being honest with you guys. I was in Peru and we're having a conversation, and it came through like a arrow, lead. And I was like, fuck it, I'm leading. Like, I'm going to take over this, it's interpersonal, what we're talking about, but I'm leading it. No, I'm going to lead this. This is what we're doing. This is how we're moving forward. And then she relaxed. Right. But that's the thing. It's not like it's just, we're learning through this, right? We're all, I believe we're broken little kids in a big physical body. That's all we are. May brought up her dad. I'm healing father wounds, and I'm hearing all these different
We're
things.
all just trying to fix all of the things that our parents did to us.
Yep.
And that's
That's
really that's what we're really
Yep.
doing in life. That's essentially life. And that could be based off of, if you believe in past lives, that could be past karma that was here. It could just be you trying to figure out what you need to do to get your shit together in life.
Yep.
But we don't get to really choose, at least from our own thought process, we don't get to choose who our parents are or what environment we're in. And so all of our life, we're trying to fix that entry point into the world.
Damn,
right?
that's powerful.
And that shows up.
I like that, man.
That
Fix
shows
that
up in the
entry.
markets.
Yes.
Because the markets is just people buying and selling.
Correct.
Ooh.
100%.
Go deeper
So the
into that.
only way to make it go straight up is you gotta fix your shit. No,
You gotta
I'm just
fix your
kidding.
shit. Yeah, you
The
are.
only way to
Those-
make XRP go to 589 is you gotta fix your shit.
But,
Yes.
but that's true though.
We'll
That's
get to
true though.
589.
The markets are the people.
Mhm.
The markets
Yep.
are the people. That is so true. That's how, like, for example, how do I say this? Like, as I healed myself, my finances healed, right?
Mhm.
And as I healed that part of myself, my clients started to become different, right? As my value went up, everything changed as I healed inside.
Yep.
It was no longer an external thing. It was like I healed my physical body. Went through the parasite candida cleanse. I changed my spiritual walk. I built my principles, right? I stayed with the Bible, and there's something, my own framework, right? Once I built the framework, everything is responding to the framework. Right now, May and I are doing that in a relationship. Like, we're building a framework for our relationship, right? We're like, okay, we're done arguing back and forth on this stuff. What's our framework? What is our family's framework? And then you feed the framework. Then if A times E equals R, if something's off, it's either you're not doing the activity or it's not effective.
Yep.
Right. Or it's just like, if I'm taking her on a date and we're both on our phone, that's the activity, but it's not effective. So the result is we're pissed off.
Right.
At
You
each
went on
other.
a date, which was a good activity, but
it's not.
both of you were paying attention to
Correct.
each other.
Yes.
Yep.
And guess what the woman wants
Connection.
is presence
Yes,
and
correct.
connection. But for men, presence is a
all
masculine energy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Like, so what do men are like? I think men are like puppies, right? So as a man, what I mean by that is, like, I would rather May tell me, babe, great job going out and slaying the dragon.
100%.
You're so good looking. You're so ripped. Or I'll tell her that I'm ripped every single day. Or a man would rather hear that than I love you. And a woman who wants connection and I love you. Like, genuinely, I love you. And I feel that through connection, they feel love. But again, the reason why we talk about this, because this has to do with finances, everybody.
Exactly. It has
100%.
to do with money.
100% has to do with money.
100%.
It will mirror exactly.
That all of this and the way that we feel about these situations in our family and in ourselves are the way that we feel and act and respond to money. And that's what we're trying to fix in the academy and with this podcast. Maybe not fix, but advice.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're trying to fix for ourselves.
Yes.
And hope that can be advice for you to fix in yourself so that you can, create the wealth that you want.
That's super
Yeah,
cool.
because if you can't lead yourself, you're not going to be able to lead your finances.
Can't.
Can I add a story? Yeah,
Yep.
like it's a belief thing, right? Like, and the people in the academy know this because I came on and I did a live shortly after. But 10/10, I got wrecked, right? I had spent that entire year building my trading account. Now, it wasn't my spot portfolio, but I would say I probably had somewhere around 40% of my total portfolio that had built up in that trading portfolio, right? And I thought that like where the bottom was, I had a bunch of buy orders with stop losses, and it was a deleveraging event. So the stop losses didn't trigger. So I completely got liquidated. I lost my entire trading account, right?
Wow.
And the first thing that I did, because it was just so crazy that because it's a deleveraging event, like I could see in the account that it didn't close the trades, right? Like I was negative 15,000%. That's because everything liquidated so quickly that it needed to catch up. So it took 20 minutes to finally close out the positions. So the first thing I did was I called Shelly, right? And in my head, I'm thinking holy fuck. Like I just got liquidated. I lost
but the way that you
the entire trading account, right? And I'm thinking I'm all these emotions are coming through. Like I'm ashamed, I'm embarrassed, I'm upset, I'm mad. All of these things are going through, but I'm going to call her. And so I called her and I said, hey, I got liquidated, right? And she knows some of the terminology. I don't know what's going on. It seems like there's a deleveraging event, something weird. I believe that the entire market just collapsed. We liquidated about 19 billion and it's gone, right? And I'm thinking what is she going to say to me? She's going to lay into me or whatever. And she says, the first thing that she said to me, and my wife's just saying, I love her so much. She was like, I believe in you. You'll get it back. Right. And I was like, holy shit.
She's a good woman, girl. You
right?
girl.
I was like,
She trusts your leadership.
Exactly. She's right. She's like, and then she goes, think about it this way. She's like, it took the biggest liquidation event in crypto history to take you out of the market. Right. And so you'll get it back. And I was like, you're right. And then I was like, bam, back into it again. Right. It stung,
been on a horse
it hurt. But I was like, yeah, let's go. Right. And and she was right. So yeah, that's how powerful that is. But yeah, my wife,
she's magnetizing you.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all someone needs is someone to believe in them.
That's it. That's
That's
it.
it.
That's amazing.
moral of
Let's,
the
do
story.
you guys want to answer some questions?
Yeah,
Let's
let's
do
Yeah,
that. Yeah, so
absolutely.
shoot your questions in here. How do you guys want to do this? Do you guys want to do the questions, Demond, or do you want us to just do them off our laptop? What would work best? What are your guys' thoughts?
I think off the laptop,
Off the
will work
laptop?
pretty
Yeah.
good.
Sound
And
good?
then Damon,
Cool.
if you can find the question, maybe then throw it up on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
Dustin, you can show
Yeah.
right?
We're getting
Put
this all
D-
down, guys.
Put D out there.
Put D. D. We got D and Dustin. We got double D's.
Yes!
I knew that was coming.
Double D.
And when I
man.
jump on Mercury later,
JV's missing me. That's what's going on.
Oh yeah, damn girl! Don't be telling
That
people.
was a good one. That was a good one.
that was
I
really
love
good, man.
it. Dude, that is true.
That was a good
I can be funny sometimes, guys.
No, you can be really
That's
funny a
awesome.
lot of the time, man.
All right, so let's see here.
All right, questions. I think
Here's
it was-
one by at Joseph Balden 5867. As someone who is still trying to get their shit together, I just started my investment journey. What steps in your system would you suggest as a starting point as far as building the foundation?
budget.
Mm.
Yep.
Budget. Yeah. So inside the academy, it is the thing that everybody skips right over. Like you gotta
Count your sheep.
count your sheep, man. You gotta have a budget, and it's really it's because we don't want to face the problem, right? It's like it's like your relationship. You don't want to have the difficult conversation. That's a difficult conversation with yourself because you'll realize that there's actual tons of bleed in your finances. Everybody has money to invest. Everybody does, right? So I would start if you're inside the academy, inside what section? Jeremy has a very powerful.
Yeah, it's
budget.
like right in. It's pretty close
Yep.
in the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning of it, you'll go in there and you'll fill out your budgeting tool, and then you might have to cut back for a little bit, man. I mean, I was lean and mean for a very, very long time. So I would say budget. What do you guys think?
I would
Oh,
say
yeah.
I budget
Mhm. And
then
cash flow.
like budget, cash flow, but along with those two things, one of the things that I try to talk a lot about is spend time understanding how you feel about stuff. Because the problem with the budget is that most people, they're not used to living with those types of restrictions. And so the key is that you have to understand that if you're really going to budget, you're going to realize that you shouldn't be putting money into certain things, and you're going to have to cut back. You're going to feel a certain way about that. There's going to need to be some discipline in that type of scenario. So if you spend a lot of time practicing that, whether it's through meditation or through other types of discipline practices, one of the things why CJV I think is so successful, in my opinion, is because of his discipline. Is that no matter what, if it's locked in, he does that no matter if he wants to do it or not. In fact, when I was finishing the podcast episodes for the Coach JV podcast that released yesterday and today, I think it was on one of those where you were like done. You'd been working for like 5 hours recording, and you're like, I'm so done with today. But that's the key, is you still did that
Still had to do
specific
it.
thing. And those types of activities and behaviors are the things that set the foundation for you to be successful in wealth. If you can't get those reoccurring disciplined small things like working out, maybe even making your bed, meditating at the same time every day, doing those things, it's going to be very difficult for you to stay on a budget because you don't have that discipline piece.
Yeah, as May says, freedom does not create structure.
Yep.
Structure creates
Mm.
freedom. So
Yep.
Amen.
this one says, how can people do the capital DR if we only, I love this. I did a YouTube video on this.
Mhm.
If you only have $100 per month to invest. Great question. Okay, you can do it with $1. Okay, capital DR that we invented is macro and microeconomics specific based on beating inflation. Okay, so if you have $100, somebody put in the chat, what is 10% of $100? Do a little bit of math here.
Shoot, don't make me do math.
We need that music. Bing, bing,
We need to
bing,
rely on
bing,
it.
Do the
bing,
clap for fun.
Do the
Is the clap
Do we have
still on
claps
there?
in here?
Is there claps on there, Dustin, or is that
Oh
not in
yeah,
there?
we
Come
should
on,
get sound
guys.
effects.
What
man.
is 10%? There we go. Thank you, Trey. So that is $10. So you take $10 and imagine if you went and bought a dividend stock. Okay, what is 10%? Or excuse me, let's just say 10% because we're getting some returns of 10% and above. So what's 10% of $10?
10% of a dollar. 10%
What's
of
10%?
$10. Take out a what? A
Come on,
zero.
guys.
So
Come on. Take
come
out a
on,
zero.
take out a zero.
We'll go
Take
with
out a zero.
$1.
Take
There we
out
go.
a zero.
Trey.
$1 trade.
Okay,
Yes.
so you got $100. You put $10 into a dividend stock, and you made $1. You labored for $10. You took $10.
No,
Excuse me.
100
You labored for $100.
$100.
You took $10 and you made $1. You just made a brother or sister while you sleep. Okay, I started doing that with $100, then I did it with $1,000, and now I do it with $10,000. Now I do it with $100,000. And so every single time I get paid, I get a pay raise. Every single Monday, I buy dividend stocks. And because me and Jeremy followed the gurus, we opened 6 companies. I don't want to run 6 companies for the rest of my life. I don't want to labor. I want to be with my partner. I want to be on our ranch. I want to be taking shrooms, riding horses down through the river and things like that. Kidding, but I'm not. But I don't want to work for the rest of my life. I want to make sure that I can do the things that I love to do. I want to be with my grandkids in the future if I have grandkids, and I want to, spend time with May, and we want to write books, and we want to travel around the world. So I'm going to continue to, every single time I get paid, I'm going to get a pay raise. So enough about me. Let's talk about me. So we took $10 into the market. We put $1 into $100, $10 into dividend stocks, pays you $1. Then what do you do with that dollar? You invest it. Right. So you just that's what Capital DR is at a very simple level. Yep. So.
And I just want to add too, that's one of the things that I think that is really interesting in the society that we live in now, or the economy that we live in now, is that with cryptocurrency, you can do that with $10. You don't need to save up to buy $100 share of something.
Right.
You can invest
Fractional.
$1 into Bitcoin at $1, for whatever Bitcoin sells at for $1 based off of a US dollar. And, it's the same thing for fractional shares. Most investment companies now have the ability to invest fractional shares. Now, those usually start at $5, but if you have $5, you can invest in, Google with $5, and then you have a portion of a share. That's why they're called fractional shares. So they're in today's society and economy, there is no reason why you cannot start with 10% or 5%, whatever that number is, because you can go down to something like $1 or $5 a week. And I know that people don't think that might not be a lot, but if you do that for a long enough period of time with the magic of, compounding and growth, you can start not only learning how to do it and creating the discipline, but then will start to see it increase. And then you can be like, oh, this works. Let me now see how I can get more money to put into this.
That's truly the era. Like it's thematic, right? Trump said we're going to go into an even playing field
and an
evil playing field.
That was correct.
That came from subconscious. I love it.
No, it's so true. But also too, like the energies of the era of the cycle that we're going into. Like there's zero excuses. Everything is getting shed. Everything's getting shed to light, but also excuses are being bust.
And everybody will have access. Everything will be tokenized. Everybody will be able to invest. You'll be able to, like you said, working invest in dollar. You'll be able to buy Trump will tokenize Trump Tower, and you can buy a little tiny fraction of Trump Tower.
Getting penthouse.
Yeah. So it's like
we get a little corner of it.
Yeah,
we can stay right here.
Yeah. And I would encourage people to really, 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 really take this serious right now, because the next 3 years are what took 18 years. In 3 years, what took 18 years will take 3 years. In 3 years, what took 3 years will take 3 months, and what took 3 months will take 3 days, and what took 3 days will take 3 minutes with AI technology. Like my son has a 3D printer. I haven't bought him a toy in like 4 months. He comes out of his room with a sword, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like that's the reality that we're facing with AI technology, 3D printers. Everything's going to be on a blockchain. So right now, what I would be doing, guys, is I would first of all get an academy, 3twarrioracademy.com, 3twarrioracademy.com. So jump on there, take the quiz, see where you're at. We do have private coaching programs as well. So these are our coaches. That's why we're bringing them to the forefront. Somebody asked a question that I want to reference. I want to be very clear on what we do. We are financial educators. Okay. So we educate people on Capital DR. We teach you how to hit the button. We teach you how we do it. You can see we're opposite. We show you our portfolio. Here's my percentages. Here's what I do. We empower you to make decisions. On the insurance side, we are actually licensed insurance agents. We own our own brokerage. We specialize in family banking concept and teaching people how to build wealth through generations. And we have Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. The only paid partnership we have outside of our businesses is iTrust Capital, because we use it. That is what we use. We use iTrust Capital for institutional grade custody. We're proud to say we've never been paid to promote a cryptocurrency token ever. That is something we stand on. We own everything, and everything that we do, we actually practice what we preach. So I want to say that. So 3twarrioracademy.com. So any other questions you guys see in here?
Yeah, there was one that asked about your dividends. Hold on.
Yes.
It says, well, hold on, there's one. There's another one.
I starred a couple. I'm not sure if you guys can see those.
No, I can't see any stars.
No, I think Dee's going to highlight them up.
Oh, yeah. Did you see any of the stars that Jack had? Yeah, throw one of those up there. Anyone's fine.
What is the monthly minimum? Oh, good.
That's a May question or a Jackie
May or
question.
Jackie.
I can answer that. I think May is having audio issues, but Minimum monthly, guys, it is going to be unique for everyone because how these policies actually get structured and created, and our team is very adamant about the structuring. So you'll hear JV talk about that quite a bit. Our team is extremely adamant about the structuring. We take into account your age, your health, your gender is even a factor when it comes to insurances, but also the financial situation. So we're going to do a full assessment with you guys, and then the minimum monthly cost of that structured policy will be, what the minimum is required, right? There's a cost for anything. A business is going to do a service for you. If they're covering you with a death benefit, that's their service. You're going to pay for that cost at the minimum. But our entire strategy with the Capital DR system is focused on max funding so that can be carried throughout the flywheel of the Capital DR system. So we'll teach you about that. We've got Jalissa. I think she's Senora
Senora Toshi
in the chat. So she's been posting a link, guys, to be able to connect with our team. We are licensed in every state. I saw another question in there. Are you out in South Dakota? May is not in South Dakota, actually, but she is licensed in all 50 states.
But she's licensed.
She's licensed in all 50 states. I'm licensed, I think, in 48. Sorry, there were just a few that I had to leave out. No, I'm just kidding. But our entire team can help you out.
We have an international protocol now, right? We
We
international.
do.
We are international now.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's.
Do you want to talk a little about that, or is there a lot of information on that?
Yeah, actually, yeah. So we got so many people reaching out about this this product, and actually, I was on a couple of coaching calls that intrigued me to kind of reach out and dig a little bit further with some of the insurance companies, and they do service people internationally. Now they do rate the countries in which you are in, and that's the primary factor. So if you are in a a little bit more of a safer country, a more developed country, things like that, obviously it is easier to get approved through the insurance companies. But some countries that are lower on the list, definitely it becomes case by case with the underwriting.
Awesome.
Perfect. What other questions do we have, D?
We
got D on the ones and twos.
here. Let me. All right. The next question says it's from
The voice of Zeus.
Zion 8303, and the question is: I just started as a life insurance agent, and integrating infinite banking for others is my prime directive.
Beautiful.
3 pieces of advice for new agents.
Ooh.
Great question. You take that.
Number one, I would say educate yourself. This is an amazing industry to get into, but not a lot of people take it to the next level of taking it seriously. So I would say educate yourself, because in terms of financial licensing, probably becoming insurance licensed is a little bit lower. I would say, sorry, I was getting feedback. No, that's okay. It's a little bit, it's not as difficult, right? You don't have to go to school 4 years or things like that. The certification isn't as in depth as maybe some other financial licenses. So I would say number one, education is key. Number two, have belief in what you're selling. I think so many people get into insurance and they're just in it to make money. And then number three is definitely, think of the greater purpose of that insurance. So whoever you're servicing to make money, and then number three is definitely think of the greater purpose of that.
Cool.
Is somebody, so one of you guys playing the video? It's coming from where? May.
Oh, got it.
May, that's coming from you.
Oh, it's okay. But yeah, think of the people you're servicing. Why are you here? What's the purpose? So why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you in the industry? Just think of that greater goal and alignment, and you'll be the best insurance agent in the world.
And practice what you preach, please.
Oh my
People.
God,
Yeah, if you sell the
100%.
product, use the product, guys. That irritates the shit out of me when people are selling products that they don't use. It's like, I remember the first time when I was executive, I went and bought a BMW, and I asked the guy, "What kind of car do you drive?" He's like, "A Honda Civic." I said, "Why the hell are you selling BMWs?"
Why are you selling
I was like,
BMW?
he's like, "Well, it's a job." I said, "Well, you could tell that he didn't have passion around BMWs." I was like, "Man, so."
Well, it's also hard. I did there was this one company that bought some advertisements from me from Age of Radio, and we were talking about like a health supplement company, and he never sent me any of the stuff, and I never ordered it. So by the time I started talking about it, I never used it. It's the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
Trying to talk about something you've never used. You really have no idea how it works.
Yeah.
And what it does to you.
Remember what I did, Manscaped?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm all hairy and I'm selling Manscaped. I'm like,
and that's so important in the era we're going into. That's so important in the era we're going into, though, is because people are gonna feel that. They're gonna feel that in like a intuitive level for sure, even more.
Yep. Awesome. We got about 5 minutes. So any other questions you guys may have? Anything else? D?
We have one more.
Awesome.
And this one is coming from @EM-VQ6Go. And the question is, how can I minimize the taxes on my income tax from selling my stocks and crypto?
Great question. There's a couple. I'll talk about my own strategy on what I do. So I'm not everybody's so fearful of capital gains, and a lot of the influencers tell you to just borrow against your assets. You can definitely do that. That's a great way. Elon, for example, borrowed against Tesla to buy X. That's an example. But he has a lot of liquidity, right? That he can right size that liquidity if he needs to. I sell profits. And what I do is, for example, I did a short-term rental, the short-term rental loophole. I got into, Jeremy, 506C, 506C in Florida. That's for accredited investors.
Yeah, that's accredited. Yep. It's a
506C.
506. I can never remember. I'm gonna look it up while you're doing it.
I think it's a 506C. But basically, I invested in from the Big Better Bill. There's a lot of ways. My point behind it is there's a lot of way to mitigate taxes, right? For example, May and I both just did short-term rentals. We're in the short-term rental loophole. So we pull profits and then we work to transmute that capital gain into something that's going to be beneficial for our future, called tax liabilities. So there's ways you can do that. You can borrow against your assets. We're just like we gave you the warning in regards to digital assets. If you're going to borrow against your assets, make sure you're buying something that's going to pay back the loan. Okay. Make sure you do very, very low margin, right? Or you're buying an asset that's going to pay it off. And so we like to pull profits because we're crushing the hurdle rate. Like if I pulled, so let's say I sold $100,000 worth of crypto, I max fund a policy of $60,000. I can borrow $30,000. I go back into the market. Not only, then I do my tax liabilities things. It all evens out if you know how to play the tax game. And inside of our community, we show you the whole ecosystem, and then we refer you to our tax attorneys, our tax lawyers. I have a trust with the Wyoming LLC that is held in institutional grade custody with iTrust Capital. So,
yeah, and they're 506Bs, 506Bs and 506Cs. For some reason, for the life of me, I can't remember it. I was talking about it over the weekend too, and I'm like, I don't know.
They skipped A.
What it is, and we have a bunch. Well, there is a Reg A.
I'm just kidding.
It's not part of.
I'm back.
Then hey,
she's back.
I'm back.
All right. Well, May's
I'm
back.
back,
May's
bitches.
back.
Now we can start.
I'm so sorry.
Shut it down.
Someone called me, and then I tried to screen them, and again, I'll be more prepared. I won't do this on my phone again. So
It's still been great.
This has been great. Good job, guys.
yeah.
Double
D's have done
Double
really good.
Ds.
Yeah, double
We
D's.
gotta give them a round of applause, guys.
Yeah, good
They
job.
were
And I'm so
awesome.
glad I decided to get a mic for the people over there. That's one of my favorite
Way to
things.
go.
This has been, seriously, guys, good job. It's flawless,
it's
man.
really
This
good.
is like we
It's
thought
really
there's
fun.
gonna be technical issues. The only one is issues is us.
Yeah.
So that's
But
awesome.
that's not usually how it goes when Dustin's doing tech.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I'm playing
deleted all
Dustin.
my.
I told Dustin this morning, actually, I was like, dude, no one can put out fires like you. You got this. Own this shit.
Oh, he
right.
does. That's amazing.
He's
right.
awesome.
Well, should we go a little round robin to each person and wrap it up?
Yeah,
Cool.
sure.
So we'll kick it over to let's start with Jeremy. Yeah, Jeremy, little round robin. What would you like to share with the people? And
I just encourage everybody, if you're not in the academy, to get into the academy, or just continue to watch. We'll share advice on here as much as we can, and then also get you into the academy. So do that as well. And then, make sure that you follow the Coach JV podcast. It's a really great podcast that comes out every single morning. I listen to it to put it together and distribute it. And then I have a podcast called Age of Jeremy. So check that out as well. And then a show called Mercury, which I'll be doing after this with Creator Trey. And I actually want to shout out Creator Trey.
he's badass.
Trey is hard of seeing, or seeing impaired, I guess.
Mhm.
And he was able, and this is really important. So I really believe that anybody can do anything if they put their mind to it.
Yeah.
He created an app utilizing ChatGPT's codex and his own knowledge of coding that it's called Scriptate, and it's in beta right now. And it allows you to download or upload a document, and then it will transcribe for you. So someone who is hard of seeing
No
can do
way.
a speech by
Oh,
listening
that's
to it,
awesome.
give them prompts in their ear.
Wow. Trey's
Trey,
badass.
Yeah, I
man.
just
You're
I
so
just think
cool.
that's
awesome.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
and we're living in a completely different world with
Yeah.
lots of
Yeah.
opportunities for people.
And Trey, I'll tell you what, Trey's consistent as F, dude. I love that. He's consistent. He posts all the time. He's consistent. I love it, man.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So I'm glad to be. I'm honored to be on this show, and I look forward to seeing how it grows.
Awesome. Jackie.
I'll make mine short and simple and quick. Always believe in yourself and chase your dreams. Now is the year, guys. 2026 is a big year for that. So always believe in yourself, chase your dreams. If you need people to believe in you, come see us. We definitely know the divinity of people, so we will push you forward.
I love that. Gonzo.
Yeah, I just I missed you guys. Like, it's been a while since we've been on Good Morning Crypto, and love you guys. And I'm gonna do my best to call this thing as quickly as I see it. Called the bottom, called the top. I'm looking to call that bottom again, and then get us in at a good spot. And so yeah, just looking forward to being with you guys and sharing as much information as I can.
Awesome.
Yay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, May, we got you.
Okay. My turn, right, babe? Don't forget about me.
We got you. We got you.
All right.
How's
So
your day How was your day? I'm just joking.
Thank you. I just want to sign off by always welcoming women to the table.
Amen.
Like we said earlier, there is a women's wealth transfer happening, and with that transfer comes that personal responsibility that is ours to own women. So at 3T Warrior Academy, everybody's welcome, but women, you are welcome at the table, and always be the flower. Okay, so something that we will talk more about is your feminine essence. And so be the flower, let your man be the bumblebee, and I promise your life will transform.
Awesome. Well, next podcast, you're going to see me in a bumblebee suit. I'll be ready to rock. Awesome. Well, I just want to, first of all, start out by saying thank you to all of you guys. It's been absolutely amazing. I mean, this started in 2017. We walked out of corporate America with just a dream. Our dream was to impact one person's life every single day. What we've learned through this is the power of yes. Jeremy said yes to the podcast, and here we are. All we did, guys, is we thought of it. We spoke it into existence, and we just put one foot in front of the other. It's been up, it's been down. We've been through a lot together as a team. So I want to say thank you to you guys. And we like to call the future, right? So we are a $1 billion ecosystem. We don't say we're going to be. We are a $1 billion ecosystem. But what does that mean, right? What is the Wealth Transfer Podcast? What is 3T Warrior Academy? Our role is to move the 1% to the 5% through financial literacy and education. Not only are we building one of the greatest systems, which is called Capital DR, which is very soon being trademarked, but we are going to be bringing that down to the youth as well. So a lot of parents have been asking us about that. We're going to bring it to the teenagers. We're going to bring it to the young children. And we're going to work to rewire the subconscious mind programming and help people understand, how did this happen? What happened? And how do we fix it? I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody's sounding an alarm, but how do you fix it? Right. And that's what we're here to do. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the double D's over there, Dustin and Damon. We really appreciate it. No, honestly, guys, you guys did a phenomenal job. I mean, it was flawless. It just looks, I wish you guys could see in here. It's absolutely beautiful. This is like a dream come true for us. And we are and will be the largest financial literacy company in the world. So I'll leave as I always do. What you believe in your heart, you think in your mind, will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you and only you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes your unconscious activity. As we always say, warriors, rise, get your shit together. Let's go.